What's going on, guys? Welcome to Connected by Creatures.
What's
Merry
up, everybody?
Christmas.
Hell yeah, Merry freaking Christmas, man. Sorry, guys. I'm still trying to kind of get myself settled in here. I had to jump out of the stream really quick. I was having some audio issues, as Bradley said down in the chat. You guys know I'm really good for having technical issues right at the very last minute that we're supposed to be streaming, so I appreciate you always bearing with us. I'm trying to get better about this.
Between you and Cusco.
I know, man. I'm the fucking worst.
Guys, I am happy and proud to say that our guest tonight is Mr. J. Cure, Jeremy Barefield from Cure Constrictors. Jeremy, man, you've been supporting us since day one, and man, super appreciative of you being here, and super happy to spread your name and spread your word, man, because you're an awesome guy.
I appreciate it. Stoked to be here. And plot twist, I'm only here to take over the stream, and I'm going to be asking all the questions tonight. So,
Dun, dun, dun.
I can deal with that. Good luck. As much as I talk, you're in for a challenge.
I just need to ask one question, and Zach will talk to the rest of the night.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. There you go. So, man, first off, how's everybody's Christmas been? Everybody had a good Christmas?
Yeah, it's been awesome. Glad to be home. Finally home from Texas. I was there for, 18 months out in Texas.
Yeah, man.
Finally home. So stoked about it.
John said his kids have been going crazy since 4 a.m. this morning, and they're still going strong. That's impressive.
Yeah. So last night, man, we had a little family get together. A few people came over and everything, and my daughter was the first person to go to bed, and she went to bed at like 10 o'clock last night. And like, that's not Lainey, man. Lainey normally, right. She's a night owl like the rest of us. And it was like 3:30 in the morning, and me and my sister and Katie were watching Dawson's Creek. And I was like, man, Lainey's gonna be up in like 3 hours, ready to rip into presents. I was like, we gotta go to sleep.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lainey was the first one up and wound up waking everybody up this morning. We had a great time.
Now, remind me again, Bradley, how old is she now?
She's 12.
Okay, yeah. I knew she was getting a little bit older. I just couldn't remember.
Yeah, she was real excited because one of her friends, I wound up having to get in contact with one of her friends to ask him some questions about some Christmas presents.
Yeah.
Which would she prefer, because she's real into anime and My Hero Academia stuff. And like, I don't know anything about that stuff.
For the record, one of the like sayings from that show is beyond plus ultra. And I'm so obsessed with the saying plus ultra now because of the Ultra Bell stuff. I'm going to find a way to incorporate that into my stuff at some point.
Dude, she has a shirt that says My Hero Academia plus ultra and has.
Dude, it really is such a good show. Like, if you haven't watched it with her, I'm telling you, like, even me as a 32-year-old man, it's good, dude. Like, I get chills from some of the scenes in that show. It's phenomenal.
From now on, we call Zach. I have a 15-year-old daughter, a 10-year-old son, and a 4-year-old daughter. From now on, I call Zach. What do the kids want, Zach? I need
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know what, man, I'll take it. That's like Chris Eaton. When I was on his first breeder Zoom call that I was able to make, he was like, I said something about like being divorced. He goes, "The fuck are you talking about?" He's like, "How fucking old are you?" He's like, "You look like a kid." I was like, "Man, I'm 32 years old." He's like, "Fuck it, I don't fucking believe." You know how Chris Eaton is, man. He was talking shit to me the whole time, but no, it's all good. Yeah, hey, if you guys need idea, if they're into anime, I'm your guy. I can give you some ideas for sure.
You're gonna get the calls. So instead of saying het ultramel, we're saying plus ultramel. Is that
exactly? And see, and that's where I'm going with it, man. Like, because like it literally in my mind, like every snake that I want, I'm like, yeah, but is it plus ultra? Like, does it also have ultramel? So like, I'm telling you, like, this is the first time I've said it to anybody, like outside of in my own head. Like, that is part of my game plan to incorporate that into my marketing for the project. It's like, but is it plus ultra?
So Zach, of course, you're in the Wrapped Around Reptiles family already, but man, you just became Lainey's favorite snake breeder ever, plus ultra.
Yeah, but I honestly got excited when you said she was into My Hero Academia, so that's killer. But no, man, so that's awesome.
Ultra, didn't you?
Say what?
Didn't you just have a whole clutch of?
I did have a whole clutch of Plus Ultras. Yeah, man. I've got and for those that kind of have been keeping tabs, I've now got 5 out of 6 of those babies on frozen thawed, which is super exciting. I've still got one that has not taken its first meal, but it hasn't dropped any weight yet. So I'm just gonna keep taking everybody's advice and just keep being patient. I mean, if it's not losing weight, I see no reason to try to, like assist feed or offer it live. Like if it hasn't dropped even a gram, I'm just gonna keep waiting it out and try to give it frozen if I can on its first meal, just so that it's easier for people that buy those babies. But yeah, I would say probably by next weekend, if it hasn't eaten, I would assume it's gonna probably, we're at that time frame where it's gonna start losing some weight soon. So but yeah, I'll get that one eaten and it's not gonna be an issue. So I'm feeling a lot better about it. But let's enough about me as always. Let's dive into what Jeremy's got going on. Jeremy, so you've been in the hobby, I think, a lot longer than what most people are probably even aware of. I think you're probably what a lot of like I think Miguel kind of coined the phrase of people that have been in the hobby for a long time, but they're not like really in the public eye. He calls you guys underground breeders. So I think that's probably where I would throw you in at, even though obviously you've got a lot of big things going on over there that are super exciting. So again, just kind of start with like how long you've been doing this and we'll roll from there.
Jeez. For a little bit. But I've really been keeping snakes for like 30 years already.
Yeah.
Since I was like 6 years old, I got my first ball python. It was a wild caught normal ball python, which, back then that was kind of all you got. You would go to these little seedy pet stores, that were super dark and smelled funny.
Yeah.
A 10-gallon cooler filled with wild caught ball python. They were just gnarly, and there'd be nothing, like not even bedding. There would just be a heat rock in the middle of the damn thing, and like all the snakes would be piled up on this heat rock.
Yeah, super old school. I mean, like really old school.
Yeah,
that's why, and for people that are listening, like that's why I was so excited to have you on for this. Like, there's a lot of like, the big name breeders out there that obviously they know a lot of the history of the industry and things like that. But like, I feel like you are literally like Bradley and I's like best kept secret. You know what I mean? Like you've been in it for that long. All the stuff from the old days, and yet you're not that guy that people really talk about a lot. And so I'm like I said in my Instagram story today, I'm super excited to really shed some light on you, man. Because like I said, you've been doing this for a long fucking time, and you've got a lot of really big projects. So do you want to kind of give everybody an idea of like the species that you work with? Because it's not just ball python.
Yeah, it's not. And I was kind of worried today because I know 99% of your audience is ball python people.
Nah, man, we're just snake folks.
I mean, there's 60 or so of those back there.
Yeah.
I have quite a few ball pythons. But also my main focus, because really this is my wife and I, and she had got me back into, I did a little hiatus after, I had like 4 years off that I took.
Okay.
Kind of some stuff that happened in my life with
sure.
death in the family. And
yeah.
But then my wife, one day we weren't married at the time, but we were dating, and I ended up saying, hey, let's go to a reptile expo, and take the kids, and kids love them. No matter if you're going to buy something or not, they love it. So
yeah.
Right.
She wasn't even keen on the idea of snakes or nothing like that, but she's down for whatever. She went, and like most people, she saw pied, and it blew her mind. When she was looking and looking, she's like, I think I want one of these, and I'd been out snakes for, like I said, about 4 or 5 years or so. And I was like, yeah, I wouldn't mind having a snake in the house. Let's do it,
Yeah.
And also, I remember when pieds were like $50,000,
right.
They were super untouchable.
Yeah, just not even realistic. It was just exactly. Like, hey, that's really cool, but I'll never be able to own one.
Right, exactly. And when we saw these, I think it was like $700-800 or something at this time, and it was a pastel pipe, and so we picked it up, we grabbed it, and we're walking around some more, and then we come to, it might have even been the same table, but just the other side of the table. Like we had walked around, it was like a corner table, and by the time we got back around, there's a purple passion on the table, and she's like, "Oh my god, that's the greatest thing I've ever seen."
Yeah,
and I gotta have this snake. So I'm like, all right, screw it. We'll get 2. All right, we'll get 2 snakes, and that's it. We'll just have these 2 pets. It'll be cool to grow them up. They're hatchlings, little babies. Grow them up with kids.
And what year do you think this was roughly?
15, I think.
Okay.
Yeah. And so then we're walking around and we got the 2 snakes and we're kind of looking at stuff, and there's a cage builder there, and me, just from my past, I'm like, I'm not doing tanks or none of that. Not that there's anything wrong with it. There is tanks are awesome. For a long time,
Yeah.
my house was tanks everywhere,
Yeah.
to be done correctly. But it's not my thing.
Sure.
So I went over there and we started looking at racks and stuff. This guy was building them. And as I'm walking around, something catches my eye, and it's just a regular, normal, lesser ball python. And again, I remember a time when lessers were $20,000.
Mm-hmm.
So I had seen this thing, and it was the most beautiful lesser I'd ever seen. This thing is amazing. And I actually today posted a picture on my Instagram of that lesser, now as an adult, big girl. But she barely has any alien eyes at all. It's like super smooth. She's super buttery and nice. And I was like, and it was $100, and it was lesser het pied, labeled for $100. And it was some dude with like 2 or 3 snakes and deli. Like, it wasn't a breeder, like no banner, no nothing.
Yeah.
Dude. Right?
Yeah. Just some guy sitting at a table.
Yeah, just hanging out.
He's got a couple clutches that he just needed to get off of, and yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I want it. I wasn't thinking breeding. I wasn't thinking it. Didn't even care about it was just an awesome snake. So I picked her up. So we leave that day with 3 snakes. We go get a rack. We go to the house, set everything up, and it just started from there. Next thing you know, my wife is like Googling and looking, and can we do this and can we do that? And I'm teaching her how to keep them, what to do, and then randomly, it's 6 months or maybe a year in, she's like, I want to breed. I'm like, all right.
That's awesome, man.
Been around. I know how to do it. I can show you how to do it, and we'll do it. And then, thing you know, it just exploded. A show couldn't come to town, or Freedom Breeders, Jesse's phone and them over there just blowing them up, buying all the shit, like constantly. We had so many snakes coming in from Freedom Breeder all the time, and racks, and so it literally just exploded until my house was just full of shit, and I had to build this building. We're actually in a building on my property right now.
Okay.
I had to build this building.
And for people that don't know, what state are you guys in?
We are in Louisiana.
Louisiana. Okay, so you're in the southeast like me.
Yeah, right outside of Baton Rouge.
Okay.
So that's
So
there you go.
That kind of gives us a summation of your wife's ball python business that you just are hanging out in. Now let's dive a little bit into the stuff that I know you're into, because man, like, your collection has got me interested in some other species and looking in some other directions. Some of the stuff that you're doing and some of the people that that you're in contact with, that you're working with, and those animals. So hit us with the old worlds.
all right. Yeah. So that happened a few years back, because my love is reticulated pythons, and that's kind of why maybe I'm in the shadows as well, because realistically, the retic group is brutal, man. There's some like really mean people, especially when it came down years ago, and the Kalatoa and Coyote stuff started coming over, and the Jampia stuff started coming over. Retic people are brutal. They're mean. They're nasty to each other. Like, it's brutal.
It's super cutthroat, and it honestly hasn't gotten much better. Yeah,
super cutthroat. So that's actually what has kept me like underground for so long, because I was just like, I'm not sticking my head in that, because I've been known to have a temper in my day, and I don't mind, a little fisticuffs,
Yeah.
So I kind of just laid low, and I enjoy everybody's stuff and whatever. I don't have anybody personally to talk bad about. I'm just there's just this.
Just the general toxicity of that market puts you off.
The retic market's super chaotic.
Sure.
But that's my first love. So I had a crap ton of retics. I've had all kinds of stuff, retics. But really, when I had noticed I was going to start having to go out of town and stuff like that, I had all these big ass snakes. I knew I couldn't leave my wife home alone with these retics, because neither one of us are from Louisiana, so we don't have family. Our parents aren't here. We don't have,
Gotcha.
So I had to get rid of my collection. They went to a friend of mine in Georgia, Bam Exotics. Actually, if you look them up, you can see a lot of my animals. My whole collection.
I'm familiar with the name. Yeah.
Yeah. So we drove the whole collection to Georgia. But prior to that, a couple of years, I had gotten this Vietnamese beauty snake. And the reason I got this girl was I'd never even heard of these up until 4 years ago. And I just seen one and was like, that thing is amazing. Like, how cool is that? So I researched them, kind of saw how big they got. And, you know, being from, I like big snakes, you know, I like big animals.
Yeah.
So I got one and really got it as a mascot. My plan was when I was doing shows was to have this cool blue snake, you know, and it would bring people to my table.
Sure. Eye catching. Yeah.
You know, people are like, what is that snake? You know, what is that thing? Because that's what I thought when I seen it. I was like, what the hell is that? You know?
Yeah.
So that was the whole plan. This snake is a mascot. But man, did she turn my life around. Like, she just, as she grew, the more I was working with her, she got so big. And finally, I kind of dubbed her the colubrid for retic people. Because prior to her, I had never had a colubrid in my life. I've never owned a corn snake. Any North American or New World rat snake, corn, any of that, king snakes, I've never, still to this day, I've never owned one. I don't have one. I never did that. I had a ball python as my first snakes, and then it was boas, pythons, blood pythons, you know, all kinds of cool shit like that. So I got her, and I just started researching more, and then next thing you know, it's exploded. I've got all kinds of blues. My real passion really has gone from the blues to the Pitaias mucosas. That's my thing now. I love, they're mean. They're so mean. Like, they're but it's weird. They're nice at the same time. Like, they're super cage defensive. Like, you are not sticking your hand in there, but you get them out and they're huffy. They growl. You know, they
kind of like bull snakes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
a lot, and they're super fast. I think I posted a picture 2 days ago. You know, one eating and having the rat's head in its mouth, and they don't constrict their prey; they just crush it.
Yeah, kind of like indigo snakes.
Yeah, they grab it by the head,
just really overpower it, and just
the skull, just, you know, and it's
brutal.
And one of them had missed the head and grabbed it like the neck. So since it didn't have the head to crush, it shot out of the enclosure and started beating this rat. And it's a dead rat. It's
already done. Yeah.
Yeah, it has, but the snake just doesn't care. It's like
just their instincts. I gotta fuck this thing up.
They're brutal. So
but that's interesting that it knew, like, okay, I missed the mark on where I needed to get this thing, and so this is what I have to do to take care of business.
Time they miss and they hit midsection, they just start going crazy and being.
That's wild.
Yeah, so that's not a one-off. Like, anytime that it misses the head, that animal's gonna try and thrash and bang.
Yeah. Well, and that's what I'm getting at. Like, that, to me, it shows a little bit of intelligence. Like, okay, I don't have the head subdued. It's gonna, you know what I mean? Like, they understand in their head, like, all right, I've got to kill this thing in another way, and they immediately know this is the way to do it. Like, that's crazy.
If they grab the head, like the face on, they crush and they just sit there. They don't even move. They just sit there
because they
kill it. But if they miss, they go nuts, dude. It's
interesting. That's super interesting.
That's awesome.
I love those. And then besides, like, the blue beauties, the Pitaias mucosas, and Boega, it's kind of my thing right now. Which, man, so y'all got to get on a call with me to Jesse, because if he doesn't get these arboreal things done over there at Freedom Breeder, I need. Right here where I'm sitting, actually, is supposed to be 2 racks of arboreal enclosure for my Boega.
Yeah, man. I saw you. You and I were both in the comments on Garrett's stream on Wednesday, and we were talking about that. You know, I've seen those like, what do you call them? Prototype. Sorry, those prototype racks that he put together for Garrett, and they're really cool. They're really, really cool. I know that there's just a couple little kinks that they wanted to work out. And then beyond that, it was like they would pretty much be ready to go. I guess they were just super behind with the whole COVID rush of orders. I'm guessing stemming probably from people using their stimulus checks to buy rack systems. because I know they just got absolutely inundated with business, which is great. I think that I've heard that from the whole hobby. Like, same thing, like people not being able to keep even like single and two gene animals on the shelves. Like for the prices they have, and prices have gone up. The whole ball python market has increased in price. Everything's just a little bit weird, which is interesting. Considering kind of where people are saying the economy is going, and where the ball python market is acting like. It's definitely interesting. But yeah, I'm definitely excited to see them release those, just because it's that more professional surgical approach that you get with a rack, but obviously with the space and the height that you need for those species that you keep, which is awesome.
Exactly, and I've seen them in Garrett's videos so many times.
Mm-hmm.
I get so mad. Like, I'm just like, I need that. I need that.
Yeah, because he's had those for almost a year, I think.
Yeah,
now.
he's had them forever. And I literally where I'm sitting, this right here, I wouldn't be able to sit here because this is supposed to be Freedom Breeder arboreal racks right here.
Yeah.
And that's what this space is for. And I need another 0816, looking to buy another one. But I was waiting. I'm like, because Jesse would, respond, hey, soon, you're going to hear something soon. So I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
just wait, because the shipping is outrageous, so I just.
Oh yeah, and I was going to ask you about that to Louisiana, because you're again on the same side of the country as me, and it's tough, man.
Yeah,
I'm looking at ARS for my first rack, just because the shipping is so steep, and I don't know if I can justify the additional cost just to get all stainless. And nothing against Freedom Breeder. I mean, that's what I would prefer, obviously.
They're the best. I have them both.
Yeah.
I mean, those back there are ARS, and all of them over here are Freedom Breeder.
Yeah.
But I much prefer the Freedom Breeder personally. Really, everybody that sees them prefers them, especially once you move them and utilize them. The tubs are so much smoother.
And that's what I was going to say. That's the thing, is even if I did get ARS, I'm going to order Freedom Breeder tubs. And it's like, well, I'm already conceding to the fact that Freedom Breeder is better by kind of like, toeing the line, or like drawing the line down the middle.
There's no problem with ARS at all. These are awesome. They're going to last a long time. My only complaint is, and I don't have the ARS steel, because if I'm going to get steel, I'm going Freedom Breeder.
Yeah.
I got these to check them out, and it's the hybrid or whatever.
Yeah, the hybrid, like powder coated.
Yeah, but the
plastic
are plastic, and I can't stand that. Not only does it's plastic on plastic with the tubs, so it grinds. But also, I know I'm going to have to replace those one day. And I know some people are like, oh, I've had them 5-10 years, whatever, and I haven't.
Yeah.
I already have tubs that will cock over and pop underneath the rail already. And I've had these for 2 years, I think. So that's got me so sketchy. That will never happen in a Freedom Breeder, ever.
Yeah.
Never happen.
Just you saying that honestly sells me on just spending the extra money to get Freedom Breeder. Because like I have a PVC rack that I got from TGR when they were still in business, and it's fucking terrible. It's the biggest piece of shit that I've ever seen in my life. Like, and I am not one to talk bad about anybody's products or whatever, but that is the biggest piece of trash that I've ever spent like $300 on. The only upside is that it's Freedom Breeder tubs.
Right.
So at least the tubs are good, but the way they slide against that PVC, they're too wide, and so the tub falls down. So literally every time you pull the tub, it falls out of the track, and then you're trying to get it back into the track, and it scares the shit out of the snake because the tub pops against it. It's just terrible. Yeah. So you saying that about the tracks on the ARS stuff makes me just say, fuck it, I'm just gonna spend the money.
Again, maybe it's a non-issue for most. I personally have a couple of tubs that will fall out, and that
I have no patience for that at all, because I've been dealing with it for 2.5 years with that TGR rack, and I'm okay. Yeah, that's good to know.
The price though, and Freedom Breeder is expensive, right? There's no doubt about it.
But it's the last thing you'll buy. It's the last rack you'll ever buy. You're never gonna have to replace it.
When my grandchildren take over this business, they will be using these racks. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Like, they will not go anywhere. And I would say buy once, cry once.
You're absolutely right.
And even with shipping, like, it cost me $1,000 to ship these from California, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it's like 900 something is what it cost me for shipping only. That's not the price of the rack. That's shipping. And but it's freaking worth it. If you go look at any 2-foot cage, 3-foot cage, 4-foot cage, like any builder out there that's making those, and you're like, oh, I can get one of those for $175. If you buy the same amount of cages that you get racks, you buy the thermostat, you buy what you have to make sure they don't sag.
Yeah.
Spend 3 times as much than you will on these Freedom Breeders.
Yeah.
Plain and simple.
Well,
real quick, Zach, I have this.
No, go ahead.
I have this chat highlighted because those of you who don't know in the chat, this is Mrs. Cure Constrictors right here. This is Jeremy's wife. That's making.
I love that you for the record. I don't know if you guys saw it, but I saw it on my end. Like you're.
Uh-oh.
Where'd he go? Why is he sputtering at me?
Zach turned into a robot again.
Yeah, he did. He was just about to say something very enlightening.
It was going to be life-altering, I have a feeling.
I was probably going to cry a little bit.
I feel like there was a tear coming.
So what are you drinking, Bradley?
We'll get to our drinking section here in a little bit. I still there's still some other things, man, that we haven't talked about yet that I still want to get to keep, and like there's still some other animals that we haven't delved into yet. That
what do you want to? Where'd he go? Did he leave?
He probably is rebooting, coming back in.
That's twice.
Yeah,
we can't be having that.
So while Zach's coming in, right here, John Feely says, I don't know. I've seen both in real life with different sizes. I'm still not sold on either yet.
Freedom Breeder on the cages, Freedom Breeder?
Yeah, I think he's talking about back when we were talking about racks. And
amazing.
Yeah, man, and everybody, I haven't pulled the trigger on a Freedom Breeder rack yet. I was lucky enough to be able to catch Sean Bradley when he was getting rid of some of his racks. I was in the right place at the right time, and Sean gave me a hellacious deal, and so I was able to pick up some racks from Sean for an amazing price that I can never bitch about, ever. So shout out to Sean Bradley on that one. But another thing, man, that's you being from the South, I know that, or you being from Louisiana, I know that you have some experience with Sean as well.
Yeah, love that.
And like you going to the shows that I've been to, down around Slidell and Baton Rouge and Lake Charles and all those areas. Sean was kind of the big guy on the block, man, and it was always fun and interesting seeing him and talking to him at the shows.
Like a 2-day show, you'd see everything in the first hour, but you'd stay 2 days just to talk to Sean Bradley. He's got so much knowledge. The dude knows everybody, has been around for so long. And no matter how many times a year we've seen him, you just sit there and talk to him for hours and hours. And he didn't care who you were, and he always remembered you. But if you came up and talked to him, he talked to you. He didn't care about the booth. Well, he had people working the booth, and he was out talking to people.
Yeah, man. And the first really experiences I ever had with Sean personally, I came and I was at a reptile show in Louisiana, and there was this guy, man, and he was just like grilling people. Like he was just, hammering people and talking shit. And I was like, who is this dude? And then I come around the corner and I see him. I'm like, oh, that's Sean. And I kind of stood in a line. It wasn't really a line, but I kind of stood back and waited for my opportunity to get to go talk to him. And, like you said, man, he didn't have a clue who I was. He didn't know me. And I asked him a question, and that question didn't turn into just here's your answer. He sat and talked to me for probably 45 minutes and was showing me the difference between certain genes and the new stuff that he was working on. And I think that he gets a certain reputation, but man, if if you ever really talk to him and met the guy, he's a good guy, man.
Yeah, if you really know him, you like him. That's plain and simple. And I think I've always said if you don't like Sean Bradley, it's because you're probably the piece of shit, and he probably called you out on it. Plain and simple. You know, he's an honest dude. He's a cool dude. And just like you said, you can just see an animal on his table and just say any gene, and just, hey, what's up with this Inchi? And instead of, like you said, he wouldn't be like, oh, $100. He'd be like, it was imported by such and such.
Right.
And first one went here, and you will get the entire history of Inchi before you buy that. Like, you will know everything there, whose hands it touched first, and what combos were made first. Tells you everything.
Yeah, man. So much knowledge, so much knowledge, and so much history. And John Feely just commented and said, first time he met Sean, he had a 4-hour conversation outside the front of a hotel, and like that's how that guy is, man. Like, he's definitely a talker. Like, he'll definitely talk your ear off, but he's a great guy.
That's a fact. Yeah, he was awesome. I was super upset when I found out he was going to do the coral thing. So we talked about that before it really happened, and he said he was moving to fish and coral or whatever, and it really pissed me off because not at shows anymore.
Yeah, he as much as I hate the fact that he moved into coral, but it also that gave me the opportunity to get the racks that I got from him. So right. I can't complain too much about that.
Thanks.
Welcome back, Zach.
Yeah, sorry, dude. The internet literally crashed in my whole house. I don't know exactly what's going on. I'm gonna have to freaking call this week and switch us from Spectrum, which is like Time Warner. I'm gonna have to get us over to fiber. I've heard like inconsistent things about the fiber in my area too. So it's just, I don't know. We live in like a really weird spot in the city, even though I'm in a big city. But anyways.
Did Bradley's video stop for you? He's paused.
It did, yeah. It's not showing up on StreamYard. It's showing up on. Actually, no, it's not even showing up on YouTube.
I'll fix that right now.
Yeah.
And Zach
when Zach came back in,
yeah, I was gonna say I think because I probably have the login saved. It's just like last week with Chris Ward. When you left after like you checked in with us when you were on your phone, it literally ended the whole stream. So that's why on our channel right now it has his stream in 2 parts because it killed the whole stream.
My bad.
You're back now. But yeah, I didn't know how to fix it, and so we literally have it in 2 pieces. But yeah, no big deal. Anyways. We're all back now. Sorry about that, guys, for all the technical difficulties.
Jeremy, you did take over our stream. Thank you.
Yeah. It was all you for a second there. So
no, Zach, we were talking about Jeremy being from Louisiana and me spending so much time down there working and everything, us getting to interact with Sean Bradley.
Yeah, Sean Bradley, yeah.
And how sometimes you can get a bad people give a bad perspective of him, but he's actually a great guy once you get to know him there and super knowledgeable.
And I think that's everybody, I mean, like Kevin McCurley, there's things that people can say bad about him, like especially lately. I know there's been some drama that's come up with the super dwarf market and his name. And I'm, obviously like I'm a big part of the dwarf and super dwarf stuff. And I'm trying myself not to, let things like that even kind of sully his name in my own head, if that makes sense, because I'm like, there's always something more to things, and Sean Bradley, I know he's one of those that's a little bit polarizing because he's like, he has so much hate for Barczyk, and that really splits a lot of people, including myself, because I'm like, man, I love Barczyk. He's such a nice guy, and so it's hard for me to understand somebody carrying that much hate for somebody like him. But at the same time, again, I wasn't there at the time that things went sideways for those guys,
Exactly.
And so it's like you just, if you're going to be friends with people, you got to understand that sometimes that not all of your friends are always going to love each other as much as that hurts. It does. It's painful, but
to me, like, obviously I love Brian Barczyk. I'm a huge, fan of Brian Barczyk. I've been to his place, I love that guy. But at the same time, I love Sean too for what Sean did. And whatever their problems are has nothing to do with me. Has nothing.
Exactly.
You know, I support both of them, and I think that a lot of times, man, in situations outside of reptiles, just in life in general, you know, we get that in so many things. It's just because this person doesn't like this person that you feel like people don't want to go.
Yeah.
Man, if it doesn't hurt me and my family and the people that I love, like my opinion is based on my connection with you and my interaction.
And it's hard to draw that line between like being super loyal, you know, to your friends, because obviously like that's always, you know, I'm a loyal person, you know, right? Like that's always my goal. Just in general, I'm just that person. But at the same time, you know, sometimes you have to separate yourself from that a little bit and just understand that like there's things that I'm just not aware of. There's things I'm never going to understand or whatever, you know. And so, yeah, it's definitely a fine line. So, no, but yeah, I agree with you guys. Like, I think Sean Bradley has brought a ton to the hobby, you know, with his podcast that I think I'm not alone in saying that I hope that he'll bring back and go full bore with again. Because I know like Shane Kelly has mentioned, like that's largely what brought him into the hobby, you know, and I'm all for stuff like that. You know, anything that anybody's doing that's bringing more people into the hobby, I love it. And that's, I mean, obviously you and I, that's our goal with this. And that's why I'm glad to have Jeremy on. Cause again, I said it in my Instagram post earlier. Like I feel like he's our best kept secret. Like if I got something I got a question about or don't know about, like I'll reach out to Jeremy because I know that he's going to have some experience in whatever the fuck it is that I'm dealing with, you know, and so that's huge. And so I'm excited to have him drop some knowledge on us tonight.
Yeah, for sure, man. And that's for everybody that watches this too. Like I had the opportunity to work with this guy and meet him and know him personally. And he's a good dude, man. And like I know that with him doing what he's doing, like when it comes to reptiles, he has way more experience than I do. He has way more experience than most people do. He's been doing this for a long time. And if you have a question, man, reach out to that guy. Because, you know,
or ask us now in the chat. You know, if you guys are curious,
you might not like his answer, but his answer is going to be real and it's going to come from experience.
And he's not a dickhead, for the record, because for those who don't know, I'm dealing with some issues on my own right now, and he's been super supportive and trying to help me work through them, you know, and not judge me for, you know, some mistakes that I may or may not have made. And I'll touch on that later on this week. But so again, Jeremy, so you've got the ball pythons, you've got some old world colubrids. What other stuff do you have experience with? Like, you got some hots? I'm gonna go ahead and go on a limb and assume, based on the picture that we posted for our thumbnail tonight.
Well, I mean, the rear fang stuff, you know, the Boega. I don't have full hot yet.
Yeah, I mean, you know, semi hots. We'll call them warms, I guess. Yeah.
Plus hot.
Yeah. There you go. Plus hot.
Semi hot. The full hots, I decided that would be when the kids are grown and out the house, and you know, this is just my little dungeon with not having to worry about anybody else. Then you know, that's kind of, and usually this comes at some point in the show, like your dream animal. My dream animal is a gaboon viper and a rhino viper.
That's my favorite. Bradley, when was that? That was our snake of the week. What, last week or week before?
It was supposed to be our snake of the week when we had the Farleys.
That's right, but we didn't get to that segment.
We wound up getting super long-winded on everything else. Didn't get to our segments. And then last week, you know, I had my issues with work, so I wasn't able to make it. So we're going to get back to our segments tonight, guys, our three segments that we do. And with that being said, our snake of the week is supposed to be a gaboon viper. So, Jeremy, if you want to touch on it and then lighten us a little bit on gaboon vipers, and then we'll all give our opinions.
Yes.
I love gaboon vipers because they are the dangerous blood python.
I love that.
Love bloods, man. I used to have a lot of bloods, and that was when I was heavy into retics. It was retics and blood python.
Okay.
And that's kind of what got me sold on them. And really, it was Tinley in like 2008, I think. I was at Tinley, saw like, you know, bar check, and I had just left Kevin's table, met Kevin McCurley for the first time, talked to him for a bit. and went around the corner, and there was a gaboon, sitting there, a big one, big gnarly one, and I was like, man, that's a super dangerous blood python. Is exactly.
Yeah. Yep, they're impressive. They're like just giant fat slugs that will murder you.
Like 3-inch fangs, like
yeah, their heads are just
that's
massive.
If I'm not mistaken, it's the longest fang of any snake in the world.
Yep.
Yeah.
They're super dangerous. They're highly known for like coming back if people try to head them or whatever. And
and fast striking too, like deceivingly, because you see them and you think, oh, it's a big, slow, chunky, because they do generally move slow,
right.
But they're ambush predators. Their whole point of them is to blend into leaf litter on the floor of the jungle and not be seen until something stumbles upon that they want to eat.
Yeah,
they are lightning fast for something that's as fast as they are. And then the way they move is even amazing. They're like
a caterpillar.
It's not a traditional like a normal snake, like a slithering pattern. It's literally like there's a name for it. It's like a locomotion type of.
Yeah, it's like a caterpillar crawling, man. Like,
yeah, literally, and they move like in a straight line.
Yeah.
But you see the way they move their muscles. It's super impressive.
Yeah.
And a little story for you guys that I don't think I've ever told either one of you. And we've talked a lot of snakes between the three of us.
Yeah.
So I had the opportunity one time to be around a gaboon viper, and the guy was cleaning the cage, and he had it out, and I had a hook, and he was like, just kind of wrangle it and keep it over while I clean the cage and everything. I was like, yeah, that's fine. So, and I was probably 17 or 18 at the time, and so it's doing its thing, and like I kind of hook it and bring it back around, and they can jump vertically, like a straight vertical jump, and like that thing comes up like knee high, just shoot straight up, and I nearly shit, man. I was like, what? And like I asked the guy about it. He's like, oh yeah, she does that sometimes. Like, that's something you could bring up beforehand, because I've seen snakes, strike and kind of launch themselves, but I've never seen it vertically go up before. And like, dude, that thing just from flat ground vertically, just boom, came up probably 14 inches off the ground. And I was like, what the fuck just happened?
That's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Wild. Fuck that, man. I don't know. Maybe I'm a gaboon anymore. Maybe I just
yeah, that sounds super sketchy. Yeah, I mean, and again, like that's just the thing, like me, I have really in my head, I'm like, I'll never keep hots. I have no desire to keep hots, but I'm like, I have always loved gaboons. I think I told you that, Bradley, when you reached out and you were like, hey, like, for those that don't know, Bradley and I trade off week to week on who decides the snake of the week. And it was my week to decide, and I was like, gaboon viper, it's got to be. And it is probably my favorite hot. Has been like since I was a kid, and just since I saw him, and for me, it was just that big, fat, diamond-shaped head that's just, it's like the size of my fist. They're just an impressive animal. Both physically, in terms of their beauty, and physically what they're capable of doing. They're super athletic for what they are, and just really
got a vertical leap apparently.
Yeah,
and literally have a vertical. Yeah,
and I've honestly never like looked that up on the internet to see if there's a video of it somewhere or anything, or maybe it was just that one snake. Like I've never really researched that afterwards. But
that's the first I'm hearing of it. But I haven't looked into it a lot.
It was in the corner of the room, and like I had just hooked it and brought it back around, and like it just hopped like woo. Straight for not striking, just hopped. And I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
I'm laughing at what Courtney said in the comments. She said she said something about putting him on a basketball team with Air Bud. I love it.
Yeah, no doubt.
She said they'll murder the competition. Air Bud will hold him down and the gaboon will just take him out. I love it.
Also, what was cool about gaboons before we switch subject, like, do you guys remember the first time that you saw one? You saw the two horns sticking up on the end of its nose, and you're just
wow. I saw them. It was either in an encyclopedia that we had at my house that had a picture of one, or it was when I was in elementary school. I was that kid. I used to like I would try to volunteer for extra credit. But I would always volunteer for extra credit to do like something that I was interested in. So I would volunteer to I remember specifically in 3rd grade, I was like, I'll write a paper on snakes, and I think I remember printing off a picture of a king cobra, and that was standing like 3 feet, off the ground, like ready to freaking go. And this was in like 1995. And it was just like I remember like my parents bitching at me that, how much ink that I used out of our printer at the time because it was so expensive. Not that it's cheap now, but, back then, like it was really freaking expensive to print off a printer. And I did this whole project on snakes. And I remember gaboon vipers and rhino vipers. And now there's gabinos. And I'll throw this out there before we'll close out on this topic because we could probably talk these all night. But Jeremy, have you seen the albino gaboons?
Yes, of course.
They're fucking gorgeous, man. With all that pink. For anybody in the comments hasn't seen them, I think I've talked about them on here before, but
Google it.
Google it. It's one of the most beautiful snakes I've ever seen in my life. It's between that and Kevin's albino mangrove. That to me just looks silver. It looks like silver.
Don't even get me started on that thing.
I knew that was probably a pretty strong segue into something else that would kind of light your eyes up.
I thought about doing really shady shit to get one of them babies. Like, I've been trying to decide what I would do. Like, there's not much I wouldn't do. I know there's some people I know going there soon. I thought about like jumping in luggage and choking Kevin out, running out with a pair.
Kevin's like a black belt in jiu-jitsu. You can't fuck with Kevin.
I know, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, he's got that whole Bruce Lee build. He's real skinny, but he's lean as a motherfucker.
If I can get him yoked up from behind when he's like going crazy,
just catch him off guard.
I think I got him.
I will stuff you. Hey, I'll stuff you in the luggage, bro. Come on. I would love for you to go to.
I would say if I had to name 2 of my favorite animals, it would be the albino gaboon and that albino mangrove. I've just personally never seen anything quite that beautiful in my life.
Yeah.
So let's circle back to ball pythons, I guess, just because obviously you got a ton of them behind you. What are kind of your main projects that you're excited about? I'm not going to ask you what you're working with because I know you've got a ton of different stuff, and we can go through that if you want. But what's like your main one that you're excited about right now?
I'm going to need another beer. The main projects, that's easy. It's like most, it's pied and clown.
Yep.
So the wife does the pied stuff. That's her baby. I do the clown stuff. Clown is really my favorite recessive.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that going on. But other things, I mean, like I have like Phantom and a GHI project, not together, but I really love Super GHI and Super Phantom stuff.
Yes.
Really, because like my hero is Ralph Davis, which I know I've chatted about before.
Yeah.
And if anybody, I mean, he's out of the hobby now, but if anybody looks up Ralph Davis on YouTube and just watches old videos, it's literally Phantom stuff, and lesser platinum stuff, shit like that. And that's why, which is why the lesser was my favorite snake, was being worked with by Ralph. I'm lucky.
Well, and that's a name a lot of people don't drop anymore.
So, what's that?
I was sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was just saying that's a name that a lot of people don't drop anymore. It's a name that I've heard and I'm semi-familiar with, just because I've heard so many people talk about him as far as like the old school keepers. But I haven't really talked to anybody that actually has animals like from his lineage and can kind of speak to what he was all about.
Yeah, I've got him. And I'm stoked to have him. And I have Ralph Davis's number in my phone. All right.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like not friends with him. You know what I mean? But I got some animals from him, and something, I don't remember what happened. Nothing negative or nothing wrong with the animal. It was something happened. He had to contact him, and I think I just randomly got a text from him or something. And I think I was even laying in bed, and Courtney, Miss Cure could pop up and I'm sure tell you about it. But I lit up. I was like, my whole world changed. Like, Ralph Davis just contacted me. Like, that's his phone number. That's Ralph Davis' phone number. It's my phone. So,
but dude, I love that.
And that was years ago, and that's like 4 phones ago. And when I get a new phone, I still bring his number over, just to be like, I got Ralph Davis's phone number.
But I love that, man, and because I'm still that way. Like, like I'm young in this hobby, compared to yourself especially, but to most people, I mean, I've only been back in this for like 3 years, and like Kabilka is mine. Like I can text Kabilka and ask him a question, and that just like to this day still blows my mind that I'll get a response back. Like, yeah, Bradley's going to show you guys something that'll blow your mind. For him and just honestly for all of us, person that's not going to show up, but I already know exactly who it is because I can see it's the letter B. I believe he's trying to show us it would be Mr. Brian Barczyk, which is just amazing.
I don't know. I don't think that's what he was showing, Zach. I saw my name on there.
You know what? Matter of fact, I actually don't have your number, so I'll have to link up with you and get it after the stream. I know we can talk anyway, but
we'll have to ask Bradley if that's okay. I don't know.
Yeah, I know he gets super upset with our bromance when we're in our group chat that we've got going.
That is a fact.
We weren't supposed to talk about that, guys. You're gonna get me upset, okay?
Yeah, for those that don't know, Bradley gets super upset because Jeremy and I are clearly becoming faster friends than what he and Bradley are, and I think Bradley's a little insecure about it. But
y'all are driving me to drinking.
You've been drinking since this year. I've been drinking since like 10 a.m. So I wasn't entirely sure how the stream was going to go. Thankfully, I've eaten like a lot all day, and I really made a point to do that so that I'd be coherent for this. But yeah,
I'll tell you another just really quick fangirl.
Oh, please, yeah, whatever, man.
That's what we're here for, is the fangirl moments.
Yeah, talk over me. I hope you will.
Somebody needs.
There's another number I have on my phone that from 4 phones ago I still have and keep, and it's freaking Lindy Johnson.
That's awesome. Now that's impressive.
Yeah, so I have Lindy's number, and obviously I have Jesse, and Lindy, but I had some Freedom Breeders coming in, and thousands and thousands, and there were some issues with the shipping company, and they actually destroyed some of my racks. The shipping company did. They showed up, it was all fluckered up, right? So we had some issues and had to go back and forth. Well, I was so pissed off because I was supposed to get them that day, set my racks up. I was so stoked to get all these racks. What is she saying?
That's the way it is. That's the way it is. Like I'm the same way. Like I've met some like more famous people, and I've known like more famous people than the people that I know in this hobby. But there's something about the things you're passionate about.
Yeah, definitely.
That it makes certain people more important. Because let's be honest, people pass Brian Barczyk in the grocery store every week. And they think nothing of it. But to us, it's like meeting. I don't know. I wouldn't say the king, but like meeting somebody that's very important. It's a very important person.
It's like I said on Feely's Monday. Like it's like a basketball guy hanging out with Michael Jordan. It's like,
exactly, and that's exactly it. It's just where your passion's at, man. And that's what I say. I get excited anytime I see somebody else get excited, like
I do too,
about that, man. I love that, right? And I just think it's wonderful.
So I got these racks.
I'll be just that way.
I was stoked to set up these racks. They come in, they're damaged from the shipping company.
Yeah, it takes effort for the record.
Yeah. So I called Jesse, talked to Jesse. He's like, we're going to figure it out. We're going to get it taken care of. We're sending you out more shit. Well, they sent me out replacement because it wasn't the whole thing, just a couple levels. You could see where the forklift like smashed into them, right?
Yeah, just bent.
So they had to send me a couple extra levels. Well, when the extra levels got here, it literally was like the same thing. The box was smashed. The guy like yokes them off the truck and they're smashed again. I'm like, son of a bitch. So I'm calling Jesse again. No problem. We're going to figure it out. And we get it figured out. But it was a lot of issues over a few weeks or whatever.
Sure.
Dealing with that. And Miss Kier and I went to, it was like Jason's Deli or something. We decided, I was like, I need to get out of the house. We're going to go have a nice lunch or whatever. And some random number calls me and I answer and he's like, hey, Lindy Johnson. I was like, I couldn't even talk. I'm like,
yeah.
Like looking, I want like the whole Jason's Deli. I'm like, does anybody know who I'm fucking talking to right now? Like, do you understand?
And nobody else cares, but for you, that's like the highlight of your life.
Nobody
Yeah.
gave a shit. But he
Right.
called me. He's like, "Hey, it's Lindy. I'm down in Costa Rica on vacation, but I heard you had some problems." And I'm like, Mr. Lindy, man, you didn't have to call me. Like, that's taking care of me.
I'm
Like,
so sorry that the shipping company's issues caused you to have to call me. I didn't mean to cause you a problem.
And he's in Costa Rica. I'm like, I felt bad, but I was like, it was so righteous, man. I'm like, oh my God, like I'm talking to Lindy, the fucking legend, man.
He's a legend, literal legend. Yeah.
He's not a goat. He's a fucking legend.
No.
You
Legend.
know? Lindy
Literal,
Johnson,
pure. Yeah.
it was just super stoked. And I remember I get off the phone and I immediately was like chest out, big as hell. When I walked out of that bitch, I had the pimpest walk you've ever seen in your life. I had a cane because my leg was crazy looking. Like I walked around like that for at least 2 weeks, man. Nobody could fucking talk to me.
Yeah, you can't tell me shit. Lindy Johnson called me.
Shit. Couldn't tell me a damn
Big
thing.
dick energy, man. Big dick energy. I got Lindy
know
Johnson on
Lindy
the phone.
Johnson. He called me personally, so fuck all him.
That's amazing. And again, like he said, like not to toot, Freedom Breeders horn too much, but that's how they are. I love, and I don't know much about ARS as a business, and I will tell you, I've been saying this for years. If ARS would improve their marketing, they could absolutely flood the market and overtake Freedom Breeder.
Sure.
I don't mean that as a slight to Freedom Breeder. I'm just saying, if anybody from ARS is watching this, y'all's marketing sucks. Like it's terrible because it's basically non-existent. But Freedom Breeder, on the other hand, like they're in the market, they're constantly, and shout out to Brian Cusco because he's a huge part of their marketing side of things. But like it's a, they do some amazing stuff, man. And I love what Jesse does. Jesse's a great freaking guy. He's super passionate about what he does. Like literally anytime you hear him talk about any of his products, you can see his eyes. Like his eyes light up talking about his products. He's that excited. He's that passionate about what they do. And that's rare in any business, not just in, what we do and what they do, but it's rare in any business. And like you said, for Lindy Johnson, the owner of the fucking company, to call you because you had some shipping problems, like that's crazy. That's above board customer service.
And he's on vacation in Costa Rica. It wasn't like he was at the shop.
Right. Yeah.
Costa Rica.
Right. Which tells you that Jesse or somebody was like, Dad, we've had multiple issues with this guy. It would really probably smooth things over if you'd reach out to him.
But
and he was like, cool,
like,
done deal, no big deal. I'll reach out to him.
Like, even though it was a huge mess, I've never had an ill word towards Jesse. He was taking care of everything. I've always been.
Yeah.
He's always been. So the whole time, like, hey, no big deal. You're taking care of it. Your thing. It's only when somebody doesn't take care of it that's when I get an attitude. But
Jeremy, so my quote that I always tell people about issues with companies is like, I don't care when there are problems. Problems don't bother me. Problems are going to happen. Yep. It's all about how you handle them. If a company handles them, like when I ordered these animal plastics cages, they took fucking forever to get here. And obviously, like, they're in the same boat as Freedom Breeder. They're super fucking busy. And I'll say this. Their quality is on fucking par the same way. Like I'll never buy another PVC cage that's not animal plastics. And I waited for 6 fucking months for these to show up. And it took me calling them to find out what was up with my order. And the lady that I talked to called me back about 30 minutes later and she goes, I am so sorry. She goes, I myself personally fucked your order up. I got your order mixed in with some production items that were not going to be shipped. And that's why you don't have your cages yet. She's like, I'm sorry, but that's just how, that's what happened. She's like, I'm personally taking care of it to make sure that your cages get out this week. And you know what? My cages were sent out within 2 days and I had them within a week. Right. And so again, I'm all about, I don't care if a problem comes up. That's going to happen with anybody, with any business. It doesn't matter. It's how you handle it. If you handle it by owning the issue and going above and beyond, like again, even just owning it, like that was my fuck up. That's all I can ask for as a customer. I'm happy. And so I was over the moon with them just telling me like, hey, I fucked it up. And again, to have the lady who personally screwed it up tell me like, yep, and not pass the buck on to somebody else. Like, okay, what can I be mad about? Realistically, literally, what can I be mad about? You made a mistake? I'm not being mad that you made a mistake. That happens. So yeah, it's that's the same deal, man. So that, yeah, I agree. I think they're just great business people.
And I
But
also
let's
want
dive back into some
to
snake stuff.
think that I'm like bashing ARS either. I like ARS.
No, of course not. Because like I said, I've not ever had any bad issues with them. I've never heard of a player that has had issues with ARS.
It's all preference. I personally prefer Freedom Breeder.
Of course.
Like, right here, I have right here. As soon as you walk in the door, I have like ARS little coasters. Like
There you go. See,
I'm repping the company. You know, I mean, I like them.
well, and they're the ones behind you in this video, anyways.
Yeah, that's ARS racks right there. You know, the Freedom Breeders are off the camera.
Yeah, ARS has good stuff. It's just again, it's just there's little things that are I think I agree. I think are better for Freedom Breeder stuff, and but you pay for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so again, let's kind of dive in. So ball python stuff. Where do you see the market going? You've been in this for long enough to kind of have an idea. Like you've lived around all those guys that have been saying for the last 10 years that the ball python market is crashing, it's dead, there's no money to be made. What are your thoughts on that? Weigh in. Like I laugh, all the people that still to this day there are people saying there's no money to be made in ball pythons, and what do you think they're doing wrong, etc.
I don't think that's true at all. I'm a musician as well. I was a musician for a lot of years, and so I raised myself to be able to market myself really well. My mother always said I should have been a car salesman. I could sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah,
and that's the problem. The people that have that negative vibe are the ones that can't sell. And it's not even that they have bad animals. You just have to market. You just have to be out there and have your face out there. And literally just showing your face, and eventually you may go and vend 5, 6, 7 shows and get 1 or 2 people, but you show your face more and more, and you're that friendly face more and more, and then people are gonna be like, I see that guy every time. He's always got cool shit. I'm gonna take a chance. Boom.
Yes.
And the next person takes a chance. Now, some people are saying that statement like the ball python market's dead because there's not $50,000 animals anymore. Well, yeah, that time has passed, right? That time's passed. That's not a thing. But we also do things differently. Like I still kind of breed old school, and like I don't tell people about what I'm breeding and what I'm doing. I keep it to myself, and then because I want to come out with my project 10 years ahead of you. That way, I don't have to worry about you, being on my heels. So I also want to prove my shit out. I can show you everything. This is what it looks like single. This is what it looks like doubled and tripled and this and that. This is what it is. And get everybody excited, because some people like clowns, some people like pied, some people like pastel, inchy. And if I can show you my gene and all of these, so every single gene has a person attached to it. It's going to be like, I need it because it looks killer in the gene that I love. So why wouldn't I want to show that off instead of just coming out like, I mean, it's cool, it's pretty. I don't know what it's going to look like in your gene. Why do that?
Yeah.
That's why I like the old school stuff. Like back when Ralph was around real big, and even Barcheck back in the day, they were working projects for 10 years, and you didn't even know they existed. And they would come out with it 1 year. All of a sudden, they'd come out like, check out this cool thing I got. And you're like, holy, it blows your mind. And then next year, they're already showing you double recessives of that, that mutation. You're like, what the?
Yeah. Well, and that reminds me of like a Kubilka, right? Because he does the same thing. When he releases a video, like when he released a video about the Wookiee gene, for example, or the Pompeys when they came out, he waited to release that. And there's 2 points I guess I want to make. One, that the way that you're doing things is exactly the same way that he's done them, which is the right way to do it. It's the right way to work a project so that you can get all of the examples and show people what it does in different pairings with different genes so that you can really give a great example visually of what this is actually doing. But the flip side of that is that you have people in the market that are going to bitch, moan, and complain and say that, oh, you're being secretive and hiding things so that you can make more money and this, that, and the other thing. But that's not really the case. It's just you're doing things the right way. Like you're working things the slow but steady and consistent quality production way. If you just buy a gene and then the next year you're selling it, one of two things happen. You are either fucking the market over because you're going to be charging way too much for a gene that's not been proven, that's as to what it can do with other combinations, or you're really fucking yourself over because you're selling yourself short on what that gene can do in multiple combinations.
Yep.
Either way, you're wrong.
Exactly.
And so the people that complain about guys like Kabilko or Miguel for holding a lot of stuff back before they release it and really talk about it, it's not about keeping things a secret. It's just about making sure that the project's viable.
Right. And you know,
Wookiees is just the most recent example that I can give for that. Because there was another one, maybe not, but anyways, Wookiee's the most recent one that I can think of that people were kind of complaining about, like, oh, the value is about to explode. Well, yeah, it is, because somebody just put 10 years worth of work into it.
Yep, and showed you
that's the part you're not seeing
across multiple platforms, and that's what it takes to get the market excited. That's what I mean, because the market isn't one gene. Every single person watching this thing, or every person we know that's working, everybody's they might work with a bunch of shit, but they have one thing or a couple things that's like their favorite. You know, you always have your favorite thing. So
well, they should. I don't think everybody does. And
their favorite thing, that's just marketing, and that's making sure you hit everybody and proving it. Because what says that I don't hatch something out and I just, oh, look at this cool thing, and like you said, I sell it for entirely too much and it proves to be nothing, you know, or not as exciting in other combinations, you know, and then I'm just going to get blasted and look like a fool, you know. So why would I do that to myself? I'm going to put in the work and I want to market it, and I want to show people what it can do. You know, and that's the other thing. We get back to the people that say everything's crashing. It's not, man. And really all you have to do, and I hear so many people say this, and it's true, work with what you love. That's all you should be doing. I don't care what it is. If it's pied, yes, there are 10 million pies made every year, but I guarantee you they fucking sell. You know, work with what you're passionate about. Me, again, going back to Ralph, that's why I have half a rack full of Phantom shit back there. Who's working with Phantom? I don't know. People make Purple Passions or whatever the fuck with them, you know, every year, but
that's all they use it for.
Yeah, exactly.
That's all they use it for. They're missing the opportunity to use it in other ways. Yeah.
Right. I love the Super Phantom stuff. And you go back and whoever's watching doesn't know Ralph, look up Ralph and look up like his Goblin and shit like that. The Super Phantom shit he has with like Super Phantom pinstripes and Super Phantom super stripes and shit like that. Oh my God, that shit is amazing. You know, and I love that stuff. And I don't get, honestly, I've got space and I've got money to buy more racks. I'll keep every fucking one of them. I don't care, because they are amazing. You know, like actually all the top 3 rows here and the top 3 rows on this rack are all the animals I produced this season, because actually we didn't do too much because I was out of state. That's every animal I produced. I kept every one of them.
Jeremy, do you mind? Can you pull us out a single gene Phantom, or just kind of show us, you know, like some of the Phantom stuff you're working with?
I can show you a super. I don't even have a single.
Yeah, no. Super would even.
Yeah, let's see the super.
Better to me.
Pull out
because,
the super.
Yeah, because for me right now, my thought, and I think this is where a lot of people are going. I think that a lot of these incomplete dominant genes should be worked the same as recessives, in the sense that your goal should be to produce supers.
Yep.
So this is just a Super Phantom?
Just a Super Phantom.
Yeah, that thing's clean.
And for the record, that's a big ball python. Like, that's an older animal. That's not, in other words, like, you know, we talk about all the time how ball pythons fade out with age and they don't look as good when they get older and this, that, and the other. And we should be breeding for what they look like when they get older. That's a beautiful animal. And that's a big ball python.
Yeah, she's a big girl. She's older, and yeah, that's why I love it.
She's gorgeous.
Super Phantom stuff is ridiculous, dude.
So just a Super Phantom, big female.
Yep.
So for anybody that, again, just to kind of reiterate my point and Jeremy's point too, I think, you know, those incomplete dominant projects that everybody's working like, oh, I'll just throw this in there and it'll work good with whatever. I think that everybody's missing the mark if you're not working those like a recessive. I think that the goal with all of those, I had this conversation with Marshall Platts of Martial Law Morphs about the lace gene. Like the super lace stuff is insane. They're absolutely gorgeous. Like what they do to the pattern and everything, they're just insane. And so, yeah, anybody that's not working their codom or incomplete dominant projects like a recessive shooting for those supers, I personally think that you're missing out.
I don't know.
So what do you have there, Jeremy?
This is a GHI Phantom Mojave.
Yeah, and that's crazy. It's super. I just love how dusty it is, but you still get the pattern coming through. And I love GHI Mojaves. So I'm trying to kind of like picture in my head a GHI Mojave versus that, because you still get the stripe along with that. And you know the GHI Mojaves are obviously super dark.
I love it that his racks are right there, and he's just gonna start pulling shit out.
That's literally what I was just gonna say. Is that I love that as we're talking, he's like, "Oh wait, but hang on, let me show you one more."
You said you want to see the GHI Mojave. That's a GHI Mojave.
Yeah. And I love the GHI Mojave stuff. GHI is one of those that I know I'm missing in the Ultramel project for sure.
Oh, I got some babies coming, bro.
Yeah, I want to get a GHI Mojave Ultramel for sure.
So, Jeremy, while you're back there, you mind grabbing that Patias?
Which one?
The male,
you know the one,
the big male.
Yeah.
I might, but I can't because he's locked up right now.
Ah.
Yeah.
Is he locked up?
I have not checked today. He's with a female though.
He doesn't want to interrupt anything.
He's super sketchy too. I don't know if that'd be a good idea.
Bradley's just trying to get you to scream and shout on camera how to get bit.
Super sketchy.
For the record, you wouldn't be the first one to do that on this podcast. I was the first one to do that because I got bit by a freaking 75% super dwarf, and I didn't even get it on camera, so it wasn't even.
Jack is the first to get bit on this podcast.
I think it's healed now.
Look at that, guys! Check that out.
That thing is so nuts. I mean, the camera is not even remotely doing that snake justice right now. That is an absolutely gorgeous animal. Look at that pattern. You guys can kind of see.
Tell everybody exactly what you got there, Jeremy, for people that don't know.
This is a Vietnamese Blue Beauty. You might see him tail wagging. He's gonna pop the shit out of me.
Yes, he is. I was gonna say he is fully prepared.
This is from my powder blue line. I have 3 different lines that I'm working with. I have a really dark blue and gold line and a yellow line. I don't know if you can tell like how electric blue he is. I'm trying to get it in there.
It's not coming up on camera in terms of the color. Like we can see him good, but in terms of the color, it's not doing him justice. Because I have personally seen it. Bradley has too in pictures that you have sent us. That snake is nuts.
That snake is beautiful.
And again, like this is the stuff we were talking about, and I was talking about in my Instagram story about why I really wanted to highlight Jeremy and Pure Constrictors, because I'm telling you guys, like the stuff that he's got going over there, it's next level. It's the stuff that people are going to be fighting and bickering to get a hold of.
Jeremy, how much can we talk about, man?
Yeah, there's some stuff that Bradley and I are kind of privy to that we don't know where Jeremy's ready to kind of announce yet, but it's big stuff.
All right, this one will pop me, but this is like the dark with the gold. Again, I don't know if colors even come through.
Yeah. So yeah, that yellow you guys are seeing kind of on the left pane of that cut. Oh yeah, that is as yellow as that stick, actually. Bro. It's as yellow as this tub that's right here by me.
Yeah. Super cool. I don't know. I dig it.
Yeah, I don't know if you heard me, Jeremy, about how much we can talk about your projects that you got going on.
I wasn't going to talk about any of them because I told you I was old school. But since this is a Christmas show, anybody who's here on Christmas hanging out with us deserves to know about whatever they want. So whatever you want to talk about.
So, Zach, which one? You want to do the ball python or you want to do the Pattayas? We'll only do one.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk about the Pattayas project. So what I will say, and the reason is what I will say is that I think the ball python project to me deserves. I wouldn't say deserves. I think that it needs more build up. I think we're gonna have to leave you guys hanging on that one. But I want you guys to understand that I have seen it. Bradley has seen it. There's a ball python project that Jeremy is working that is mind blowing. And you guys know me. I'm very particular about blowing stuff up. I'm not gonna over exaggerate anything because I generally tend to dumb down stuff. But the project that Jeremy's working to prove out, and the stuff that I feel confident is proving out, and it's going to be insane. It's going to be a game changer. And so I'm going to specifically ask him not to talk about that on this podcast. He'll debut that later on. I don't know if that'll be with us or on his own or whatever, but that's coming.
And
so
when it happens, I want you back. Like,
yeah, I was going to say, like, whether
I want you.
Yeah, when he finally does decide to put it out, I don't know if it's going to be here, like when the initial drop happens, but we will have him on like shortly afterwards if it's not, because I'm telling you, it's going to be that big of a deal that we will make a point to have him on here so that he can highlight it and we can really get that out there because it's going to blow up pretty quick.
Yeah, 100%. Like, see it when I first saw the pictures that Jeremy sent me, like it doesn't make sense. Like it's stupid beautiful, and it shouldn't be doing what it's doing. And man, when you prove that out, like that, I'm happy, I'm proud for you, man. Like you deserve it.
It's gonna be a Kabilka level, like a redhead level, a Wookiee level, times 10. Like power level over 5,000 kind of drop. It's gonna be serious. I'm not exaggerating stuff, but anyways,
if it keeps doing what it's doing, I've had 2 clutches with it so far, and I've got 2 that are locked up this year. And if it keeps doing what it's doing, it's going to be pretty cool. And I appreciate the kind words from both of you because I'm scared of stuff like that. That's why I don't come out and talk about it because I don't want to be that guy that's like, look, I got shit that nobody has, or I don't want to. I don't because I don't know. I don't know what it is, and I don't know what anything is. I'm just a regular fucking dude that goes to work like everybody else.
Yep.
Does whatever.
But that's why we had you on, man. That's what I mean. That's not why we love you, but that's part of why we love you. The point is that you're all about quality and truth in your animals. In other words, you're never, ever, ever, ever going to be that guy that's going to sell somebody some shit that's like, oh, it's pos this and it's not. In other words, like everything that Jeremy does is quality from the very start to the very finish, from I mean like from the lineage until you have a baby from him. It's tip fucking top quality, and it's all done the best way that it can be done. Like, and there's not many people that you can say that about.
I can say real quick because I already did it because I knew this was going to come up tonight. I posted today on Instagram. There's 3 pictures of 3 different snakes, and that has to do with the project I'm working on. We won't tell you what's going on, but you can look at the pictures and see things.
Yeah.
And in the future, I'll come out and say what's going on. But those 3 pictures are what's kind of going on.
Yeah.
But you want to see the biggest cave-dwelling rat snake you've ever seen in your life?
Yes, I do.
Fucking rat.
100%.
That's all I like to hear.
So while he gets that out, again, just to reiterate, Jeremy has a ball python project that he has tentatively proved out. I think, in my opinion, a lot of other people would have probably already taken it to market and would already be shouting it from the mountaintops.
Which just gives me more respect for Jeremy the way he's doing it.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Is I just have that much more respect for Jeremy because he's being patient with the project, and that's huge because there's so many people in this hobby now that have no patience, especially now, because you've got so many people that are getting into it now, young and early, that are really getting into it as an investment, which I'm fine with that. I have zero issue with that. But they're impatient. And so, to have somebody like Jeremy,
Look at this thing. Look at this.
Work in these projects is
6'2",
great.
just to give you.
Yeah, Jeremy's not a small guy.
Yeah, I'm a big guy. This is a big.
So, Jeremy, you want to kind of give us some specifics for us laymen that don't know exactly what you're holding on to there?
This is a cave-dwelling beauty snake, or a Ridley eye, and like the name suggests, they live in caves. You find them in caves. They eat bats. That's their primary food source. Super quick, crazy, because they gotta catch bats out of the sky.
Yeah.
But after with the VBB, the Vietnamese, I just kind of got into the beauty. So I do the Chinese beauties as well, and then the Ridley eye. So they were just kind of the ones that caught my eye, just because I like how, like, when you get down to the tail, it's almost like 2 or 3 different snakes as you go up the snake. The way the colors.
Hold
change.
on, Jeremy. Hold on, right there. Let's see if we can highlight you.
I'm trying to keep myself in frame, but like the tail with that nice white stripe and the darkness, and then it smooths to this yellow, and it's got a blue head. Like, they're super cool, man.
So what I'll tell people, if this is not coming up great on video, which I don't think it is, and I say this because I've seen pictures of this snake, jump over to Jeremy's Instagram after this feed if you want to see this, because that snake is crazy. And Jeremy, I don't mean that to like discourage you from showing it off, because it's gorgeous. I just really want people to really get an understanding of what you've got there, because that snake is something else, man. And not just that, but just that whole project that you have on.
So while Jeremy's putting the snake away, I'm gonna jump into one of our segments, because Jeremy kind of wanted to highlight what he was drinking. So Zach, what's your drink of the week this week?
Man, this week has been a cheap week because I had to take a snake to the vet. So this week I'm going to go with Coors Light. Has been my drink of the week, unfortunately. And it's on sale here in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's $16 a case. So it made sense.
Jeremy, go ahead and highlight us with
what are you sipping on, brother? I feel like I was bringing the mood down with my trash.
Put that LSU shit away.
Ooh, look at that, son.
What you got there? Canebrake. What's the brewery on that one? I can't quite read it.
Fuck, I don't know. It says Independent Parish Brewing Company.
Parish, okay, yeah. I'm not super familiar with them, but that what style? I mean, I'm not gonna like ask you everything about it, but
Louisiana wheat ale, 5%.
It's a wheat. Okay, it's a wheat. I'm not a huge fan of wheat personally, but I know that there's a lot of people that are like even one of my brands, Allagash White, is super popular. I don't like it that much. To me, it tastes kind of soapy, but I like porters and stouts. I'm like more of like a dark and heavy, which is weird because I drink Coors Light when I'm just sipping on beer. So
I don't even know if that's beer.
Yeah, I mean, trust me. Even I'm like, I don't know if this is actually beer, but I know for sure there's alcohol in it. Yeah. I know I can drink about 12 of them.
It'll be all right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm going with a Barefoot Cabernet.
There you go. Okay.
Yeah, I like dark red wines.
Yeah, you know what, man? I'm gonna have to. I need to try to get into some more wines, because obviously now I'm with the job that I have, I'm working for a beer and wine distributor. I like 90% of my day, at least right now, I'm working in Total Wine and Harris Teeters, but mostly Total Wines. And so I'm like, I still have I don't work for the store, so it's not like I have to answer questions, but I have customers ask me questions about wine and stuff, and I always hate when people ask me about stuff that I don't know anything about. I literally know zero. So I'm gonna have to start, kind of diving into that path a little bit.
I like it. And since we're right here, man, Jeremy, you mentioned earlier that you're a musician, and you were a professional musician for a while. with that being said, I'm just going to use it as our segue into our band of the week, our musical artist of the week. Who you got for us, Jeremy?
Me? You didn't tell me this beforehand.
We didn't prepare you. No, we're just asking on the spot.
You did not prepare me.
Yeah, that's why it's right here. Zoom.
I can. So you want to know my artist of the week?
Your artist of the week.
Yeah, I mean, who you been listening to today? Like, it doesn't matter. We're not going to judge you.
I mean, this may be a shameless plug. You can
Yeah.
call me what you like. Call me
That's fine.
a asshole if you want. But dropping January 2nd is my boys and No Self, my Florida boys. My brother is the lead singer. Is the first band I was ever in when I was 16 years old. Wrote out, and they still go to this day, still killing it. But check them out. No Self. They're all over everything, the Spotifys and the Facebooks and everything. But they're dropping episode 3 of their trilogy January 2nd. So actually today for Christmas dropped a single off of it for everybody. So check out No Self. They're new metal. So, like the Korn and Deftones, stuff like that. So if you're into the Deftones, you'll for sure love them because my brother, the singer, like Chino, is just like it's God to him, So
And it's No Self, one word, right? I'm looking at it on Spotify right now. I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right thing.
Yep.
Awesome. But hey, they got 436 monthly listeners, so that's awesome. They're doing some good things.
Like this right here, Jeremy. Is this it?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, No Self. NOSELF. There you go. Exactly.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So
I'm following them on Spotify. I'll definitely check them out as soon as we get done here.
yeah, everybody check out No Self, Jeremy's brothers. Let's give them some support. Even if it's just go give them a like, give them a listen, show them some support because I 100% support everything that Jeremy's doing, and if his brothers, I want to support that too, man. Anything creative, I definitely appreciate that
For sure. Yeah, no, I'm really stoked that you gave a shout out to somebody like that. That's huge. That's awesome. I love it. And I like the picture they've got on Spotify. And again, anybody that's on Spotify, to me, like that's a huge step. A lot of groups and people are kind of overlooking that as a platform, but I think there's a lot of growth to be had there. Even things like TikTok, as silly as that sounds, you can actually gain a lot of traction as musicians and getting your stuff exposed. You know what I mean? So that's something else I would throw out there.
What you got, Zach? Band of the week.
So for me, mine, dude, I'll tell you. So I stumbled across this band literally like 3 weeks ago. So I was listening to Acacia Strain. I've talked about it before. I like a lot of doom metal, especially right now. Like doom metal is just like it's got a whole nother meaning, talking about plagues and this, that, and the other. With 2020 going on. So I've been real big on that. But I had some Acacia Strain playing on YouTube, and right after an Acacia Strain song, rolled in this band called Spirit Box, and they have a female lead singer. And dude, I'm telling you, I am absolutely obsessed. There's one song. Let's see if I can find it really quick. But like, it was one of those where like I heard it once, and I'm telling you, like I wanted to listen to it on repeat, and I have. I'm not kidding. I've listened to it on repeat for like a good 30 minutes before. It's just that good. Like she can. A lot of what I've heard from them is like more melodic and her singing, but I guess she kind of learned to scream like later in her career. And so now she has started doing a lot more screaming, but she obviously still has the talent to be able to just like sing her freaking heart out. But they're called Spirit Box, and their music video for the song, it's called Holy Roller. Dude, it's insane. Like in terms of not only just the song, but like I said, like my first introduction was with the video. With the video, it's intense. Like I can't even describe it, but it gets me fucking amped. So Spirit Box, if you want to check out the song Holy Roller is killer. But when you're checking them out, don't be surprised when it goes from Holy Roller to like Blessed Be is another song by them, and it goes from screaming like crazy metal like to her like just singing and melodic. So
I
you can do both and do both.
I dig that kind of stuff though.
Yeah, man. I literally almost texted you the other day, but it was again you were like super busy with what was going on with the whole AT&T incident and all that. So but I knew for a fact I was like Bradley needs to check this band out. So when we get done with this call, definitely check them out. And if you don't, I'll remind you in a couple of days to check them out, because I was super impressed. Like she's super talented, man. So that would be mine.
Awesome. So mine's gonna actually be probably comical to both of you guys and to everybody in so I listened to this a lot from my grandma and my mom when I was a kid. And like, dude, I have the most eclectic taste in music ever. Like,
we do too, man. You don't have to give us the disclaimer.
Yeah.
Like as a kid, I was obsessed with Garth Brooks. So just let's go.
So you're in the right lane. So the last like 3 or 4 days, I've been killing the Judds. Like
the Judds. Okay, I've heard of them, but I don't know. I've probably heard
Judd,
stuff.
like the Judds, dude. Like I've been all over the Judds like the past few days. So that's my music pick of the week.
And it's Judds with 2 D's, right?
Yeah, Judds. It's country music, man. Old school country.
For the record, the picture they have is super like, I would say 80s, like big hair.
Yeah, late 80s, early 90s.
The outfits are very old school. Like this is some real, but that's the country I love. That was country when it was really good. To me, country now is very hip hop.
No, it's just pop, period. Like
it's more pop. It's more pop / hip hop is what country is in 2020, and it has been to me for the last years probably. I'm not a fan. I can't think of any current country song or country song for the last 10 years that I've really liked. But again, when I was a kid, it's like one of my earliest memories. I remember Garth Brooks, the Thunder Rolls. When the Thunder Rolls came on the radio, I would tell my dad, play it again. And this was before there was no CDs. It was when everything was on tape. So when my dad literally had to buy the tape for that album, and because otherwise I was just an asshole of a kid, because like if it came on the radio and it played, I would like cry that he wouldn't play it again, because I just loved that fucking song, and I would sing along, and I still to this day sing my fucking guts out every time that song comes on. So
Garth Brooks, I'm gonna give him his props, man. Like when I've been to a ton of shows, like I love metal shows. I've been to hip hop shows. I've been to, I love music. Like music's a huge part of my life.
Yeah,
Garth Brooks is in my top 5 greatest show, maybe top 3 greatest shows of all time. Like that dude. Awesome. He was on point as far as musically. His band is fucking amazing. Like they're so tight and so sharp. And his energy, man, like he played a 3-hour show just from the time he hit the first lick to the end. Like he never checked up, like was wide ass open the whole time. And
you know how he does that, man?
Coke?
Fuck cocaine, son.
The only slight that I can give towards Garth Brooks, and again, I love Garth Brooks. I mean, like I said, when I was a kid, like that, I loved the Thunder Rolls. I don't know why. It's just that song. It's literally one of my earliest memories from my childhood. Like I was young, and my dad is still to this day surprised that I remember that. But what are your thoughts on his whole Chris Gaines moment where he tried to rebrand himself under a different name? And he had, I guess it looked like a wig. I don't know if it was a wig, but it looked like
what that was, man.
Like,
was weird.
I mean, let's be honest, guys. We're all friends here. Everybody gets a little emo sometimes, and maybe Garth just had
that kilo he got for that 6 months was a bad batch. The fuck gone. That's what happened. He was gone.
He had some of that good. He had some of that good stuff, or maybe it was the bad stuff. Maybe that's when he was just having to go for the cheap shit, and it just really fucked with his head and just put him in a dark place. I don't know. Maybe
on that kilo way too much. That kilo.
Maybe that one key had some funky stuff in it, and just had him feel some type of way.
That key one too many times. He was not good. You cannot be
like too much baking powder in that one or whatever it was.
The whole world, and then decide I'm gonna be this young kid. Like you don't fucking do. You're Garth fucking Brooks.
It was super weird, man, and that's why I say, like I will never stop loving his music just because, again, you know, it's one of my earliest memories from my childhood, and I loved it then, you know. So it's just to think, like, you think about that. Like, I was probably 5 years old or something, and for whatever reason, that particular song just fucking like really slapped me in the face. Like, I love this, you know, and I knew
I
every
had no idea what they were talking about. Like,
right. I had to literally,
adultery.
I mean, I think about it now and I'm like, why did I like that as a kid? But it's like, because it's a fucking jam, dude. I don't give a fuck what anybody says. It's a good ass song. Because
You know, funny story.
I will belt that shit. I will belt that shit. If it was on right now, I'd be belting all y'all on YouTube, and y'all would probably hate me for it.
You know?
I'd be happy to do it.
What's that, Jeremy?
Was it Avenged Sevenfold that redid that song?
I have no idea.
Did they? If somebody redid the Thunder Rolls and the metal version,
really
I'm gonna have to fucking check it out.
It's really fucking good. It's a metal version of the Thunder with there's a female lead singer and everything. It's
Dude, I didn't know about that. You got me so excited now. You just changed my life.
If Courtney still knows, she'll know. Courtney knows. But
hell yeah.
Yeah, you have to look that up. There's a remake of it, and it's fucking killer, man.
I'm gonna have to check it out. So let's switch gears to the music thing, and again, like, I love that we got so deep in this because, like, you know, Bradley and I talk about it all the time. Like that was kind of the whole idea of this live was, you know, we didn't just want it to be about snakes and just about the market and this, that, and the other. You know, the stuff we talk so much about. Like, we wanted to be about music because obviously Bradley and you both are you know, tremendously accomplished musicians. For people that don't know, Bradley is very talented. He occasionally sends me some sneak peeks and stuff he's working on, and he's a very talented guy, and I hope that he'll share some of that with you guys. But again, just kind of getting back to the snake stuff. So, do you have any clutches that you've got that are, you know, on sale, like for sale? Do you have clutches that are coming up that are going to be for sale? Like, what do you have going on in terms of babies and this, that, and the other?
No, I'm keeping everything, man. I'm weird like that. All that remains.
No, that's not weird. I love that, and I think that's an educational thing that we can talk about. So, again, if you want to dive into it, like you talked about, you're very old school about keeping your stuff in terms of. So for me, when I hear somebody say, "No, I'm keeping everything," okay. So for you, that tells me you value those babies more than what the money would ever bring.
Yeah. I'm not worried about the money. I make money, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, not to brag or anything, but I'm not.
No. I'm trying to get down to kind of the details as to, you know, like your thought process, I guess.
If you were in anything for just a quick buck or anything, I don't think it matters what you're into. You're gonna fail, I believe.
Yep.
You know, you got to grow the passion. You have to have the passion. That's what I mean. I just, no matter, like, I hatched out this fucking, which I mean, it's off the secret clutch, but it's still just a pastel.
Yeah, I was gonna say, you could just show us and not tell us what exactly is going on. But if nothing else, it'll just build some more hype.
Yeah.
And make some more. People are already pissed off at us in the comments. They were saying we're giving them blue balls about announcing your project.
It's off the secret clutch, and it's just a pastel, but I kept it.
Just pastel.
It's just
For the record.
But
just pastel.
It's just a killer animal. I'm like, man, fuck! I'm not getting rid of that guy. He's so, and I mean that. I'm right under the light, but it's not picking it up right. But this dude kind of glows. He's got
that thing is bright as fuck. Even on the video that I'm seeing, that thing is bright.
But he's got some nice hooking going on, and I don't know. He's got some cool shit. But I don't know. I just love him, man.
They're mine. You can't have them.
Yeah.
Well, again, I don't think anybody's gonna, you know, give you a hard time about holding back something, especially in a particular project that you may or may not have that you're working.
Yeah, well, this year I will have a lot. I'm doing more the for sale stuff, and really that was kind of more just to get my name out there and get out there more in the public eye, I guess. And it really wasn't something I cared about doing really until Bradley and I became friends, and we met 18 months ago, you know, whenever I got to that project, whatever it was. And it wasn't that Bradley's like, oh, you need to make money. It was nothing like that.
Yeah.
It's just finally, you know, having someone else in the outside world that I'm just a friend with and I'm connected to and I'm talking, and, you know, he bounces things off, or he mentions, hey, you want to do a show, or I'm going I'm going to Freedom Breeder for the weekend with Cusco, or I'm doing this, and it gets me excited, you know. And I'm like, man, I want to get out there more. I want to be, you know, and not want to be anyone, but I just want to be out there more. I want to put my face out there, and not to be a superstar. Again, I want to go to Arlington and just have people want to come hang out. You know, like that's fucking pure. You know, like let's hang out with that guy. Let's talk to him. You know, I just bullshit with. I want to talk to every fucking body. Whoever wants to talk, I want to talk to him. So I decided I need to start selling animals and kind of get my name out there, my face out there, so people know who I am, or they're not gonna fucking talk to me. You know what I mean? Because realistically, I'm 6'2". I'm a big dude. I'm 215 pounds. I'm kind of. Everybody says I'm intimidating. Like when they look at me and meet me in person, like you look so intimidating. Like, I'm not, dude. I'm like,
you look like a fucking pussy.
I'm just a fucking pussy.
For the record, if you're 6'2", you're like a lot. You're like 6 inches taller than me. So
I mean,
just forget I said that when we meet in person.
Yeah, you know, like everybody's the little French people. They're little tiny people around here. So everywhere I go, I'm a fucking giant. You know. So
yeah.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get a friendly face out there so people know when they see me, they can come bullshit. But I do have, you know, some cool stuff coming. You know, the clowns, pied stuff. A lot of cool combinations. Doing some banana pied stuff, banana pin pied. I have this really cool pin pied. You want to see this pin pied?
Yes. Yeah, I mean, that's what I say. What, like, I feel like we haven't shown nearly enough of your stuff because I can't reiterate enough for everybody that's watching just how much cool freaking shit Jeremy has in those racks behind him. It's just mind-blowing.
I have a couple of pin pies, but my male, he just has like really cool, like thick lines.
I was gonna say those super thick inky blacks, like on the edges of that pattern,
like super thick. So
yeah, because that's like 4 scales wide of black.
Yeah, it literally is. It's 5. It's super. It's, you know, down here on the tail.
Yeah, that's really cool.
It's
like
super thick.
And so if you could line breed for that would be amazing.
Exactly. So I got this guy going. I don't even remember to what, but something, right? So, and actually, Bradley, does this animal not look familiar?
I don't see that.
Bradley could have had this animal.
Oh, yeah.
He turned it down.
So that animal is supposed to be a trade. Jeremy and I had talked about. I have a pastel sugar het clown that we were supposed to trade for that animal, and I wound up keeping the pastel sugar het clown female.
So now I'm breeding the son bitch, and I'm gonna make sure whatever he produces, you don't get a fucking thing.
So y'all see how Jeremy is. If for the record, anybody that buys anything from him, feel privileged because he doesn't let shit go. But so we'll start kind of wrapping up a little bit, I guess. But again, just Jeremy, I think, again, and Bradley and I are on the same page. I was real excited to have you on for the same reasons that you just said, man. Like, you've kind of been, quote unquote, in the shadows for so long, and just literally grinding away. You know, you're not that guy that just came out of nowhere. I'll use myself as an example. I feel like, at least lately, you know, I'm kind of all over the place. People tell me, like, Zach, you're everywhere. I'm like, well, yeah, but I haven't done anything. You know, I'm just that guy that's like real loud. You know, I'm just out there shouting myself out, but I don't actually have much going on. You're the opposite in the sense that you are really grinding your ass off in the shadows and really building something very serious. And you've got some really serious stuff coming along, and you have not nearly begun to scratch the surface of marketing yourself and putting yourself out there, and building excitement around yourself. And so I am more than glad and more than excited to be a part of it, and Bradley as well, in terms of exposing you, you know, kind of to our world, at least to the people that we're friends with. And I hope that this video goes far, you know, and I'm really excited. I always tell people all the time about any content I create. I'm excited for the longevity of this. Because Jeremy, I can see where this video is going to be in 10 years. In 10 years, people are going to be Googling cure constrictors, and this video is going to come up, and they're going to laugh, and you're going to laugh about, we're going to be about us hinting at that project that we didn't, expose tonight. Like that's the stuff I get excited about, and I hope that everybody that's here understands that I don't think there's that many people watching live right now, but the people that are, you are literally part of history right now. That's what gets me so excited about this hobby, is that we are literally talking about a project that historically is going to change this hobby. It's something that is going to be a new addition to Morph Market later on. And you're going to be able to say, I remember the live podcast with Jeremy where he was hinting at this project. And I remember he showed a single gene pastel, and I see it now. And people are going to be able to go back to this and visually look at that single gene pastel and be like, I see that gene. And that's what gets me excited. And I can't even begin to tell you how much I thank you for coming on here on Christmas Day.
Yeah, man.
Talking about all the stuff that you've talked about, sharing all your old school knowledge. And even that, we haven't even begun to scratch the surface of. Like, for me, I always feel disappointed that we can't go longer for these things, because there's just so much information that all of our guests have, especially you. And again, I would just encourage anybody that's got questions about anything in the hobby, understand that Jeremy is a fucking amazing guy. He's an amazing source of knowledge. And I don't know. I don't want to talk any further because I feel like.
And with all that being said, Zach, from my side, Jeremy, like, meeting you on the job site, every construction job I do, I'm the fucking snake guy. Like, I'm not trying to share that with somebody, and it was just funny, man, because everybody always knows me as, well, if there's a snake on the job site, like Paul Bradley, he'll come get it. And then somebody brings up the fact that, well, the safety guy on nights, he's into that shit too. And like, we just instantly a camaraderie, and instantly connected on that. And outside of that, man, like, you're just a good dude, just talking to you in general, just a good dude. And I was really excited to have you come on with Zach and I, because you and I have talked about the fact that, you don't really put yourself out there a whole lot. You don't really put your face out there and that there's always going to be those negative people, man. There's always going to be those people that are going to talk shit about you, no matter how great you're doing. And no matter, there's always, and you and I've had this conversation, but man, your knowledge and your background and the things that you're working, dude, piss on all those negative people. Throw your shit out there, because it's awesome and you're a good dude. And right now, please let everybody know how they can get in touch with you, what to follow, how they can, all your information.
Instagram, Facebook, Cure Constrictors. That's it. I literally will reply to anyone and everyone. So if you have something, I keep secrets. I don't blast anybody. So if you have some issues, you don't think you can turn to somebody, you can turn to me. I'll help you with it. That's just my way, man. I'm old school, man. I don't bum in anybody else's business. If you come to me and need help, I'm gonna help you, as long as you take the help. If you go off being a douchebag, I might have to blast you. But just don't be a douchebag. We'll be all right. But yeah, Facebook and Instagram. Facebook is the best if you're messaging me. But yeah, that's about it.
Jeremy, just so I can clarify, because I will edit the links in the description if I need to. I put the links to the Cure Constrictors Facebook page and the Cure Constrictors Instagram, which I know that's your personal Instagram too, I think. Yeah. Is that the proper Facebook page though? Do you want your personal Facebook down there as well? I can add it.
No, not the personal, just the Cure Constrictors.
Yeah, just the Cure. That's all I want to make sure. Cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and I can personally attest. And again, not that I'm hiding anything, but I have had some issues this week. I'm going to close with this because I did say on my Instagram that I would talk about it. And I will have a video coming on Sunday. Bradley, I apologize if I'm keeping you, man. If you need to jump off, I know your family's waiting on you. I just want to touch this for 2 seconds. I do have a sick snake. I have talked to Jeremy about it this week. Jeremy's not the only person that I talked with about it. I'm not going to put a bunch of names out there as the people that I talked with, just for reasons. It doesn't matter. But I have a snake, my male 50% Solare dwarf tiger, 100% heparinate ghost. He's the only one in the world, unfortunately. He has some sort of infection. I'm fairly sure that I understand where that infection came from. I'm not entirely sure as to the severity, outside of the fact that the vet and I and a couple other people, we do believe that he is septic. So unfortunately, at this point, he is on antibiotics. He's already received one injection from the vet. He's been seen by a vet. We're doing everything we can. I've got 5 more rounds of injections for him in the freezer outside. But it's hit or miss as to whether he's going to make it. That's the reality. When you have a snake that goes septic, or even a person that goes septic, it's a blood infection. It's going to attack the kidney. When they get that far, it's hit or miss as to whether or not that snake's going to survive. Those are the facts. And I'm never going to shy away from that, guys. I'm never going to hide anything from you. And I'm never going to hide mistakes that I may have made. And I 100% believe that this is my fault, that it's something that I should have caught. I think that it was an inexperienced thing. I think that I'm going to use it as a teaching moment, and I'm just going to hope and pray that he's going to get better. So that's why this box, this cardboard is right here. It's mostly just to protect him from being overly stressed by lights and movement. He's doing okay. He's very alert. He's moving around. He's drinking water. He hasn't eaten yet. But again, I'm going to try to offer him some food later. Anyways, I'm going to touch on all the specifics of that on Sunday. So I'm not going to get super deep, and I'm not going to keep everybody tonight. But I said that I would touch on it in my Instagram stories. I wanted to make sure I was true to my word. And then again, I just hope that everybody understands that I'm doing everything that I can. If everybody wants to reach out to me in Messenger, you're more than welcome to, and I'll kind of explain the situation. But I love all you guys. I hope everybody's had a super Merry Christmas. I certainly have, all things considered. I have been so looking forward to Jeremy being on. I still feel like we only barely scratched the surface of all the knowledge that he's got to share. It's so hard to fit that in to these live streams because there's just so much fun that we have during these, and it's easy to kind of get long-winded, especially for myself.
We didn't even talk the Patayas. You guys
No, we didn't. So I think Bradley and I think we'll probably plan, as we tend to do with most of our guests, we're going to plan to
have you back, Jeremy.
Yeah, we're going to have him back. I think that we're going to plan to have him back on because it is an important project. It's super exciting. It's another gene that only he's working with, that only he has to talk about. There's just a lot. We've been going for 2 hours, and we, again, have not even really scratched the surface. So I hope that you guys understand just how big of a deal Cure Constrictors is, just how big of a deal that Jeremy is, and I hope that you guys will use him as the amazing resource that he is, and I will look out for the babies that he's got coming in the future. If any of you guys want to take over after this, then
Jeremy, any last words, man?
I appreciate everything. Seriously, I didn't care. We could go till midnight. All I cared about was hanging out with you two tonight and just talking and bullshitting and drinking some drinks. I didn't realize that Zach would drink water and Bradley would be a female tonight, but I'm still stoked to be here just with you guys. I don't care. I wish we would just do this little 3-way thing more often. So
yeah, dude, this whole YouTube thing makes it tough. It makes it tough because
does Miss Cure have anything? She's just as much a part of Cure Constrictors.
Yeah, get her in here. Come on.
Yeah, if she wants to give a final thought.
She said, "I don't have any thoughts."
Does she have anything that she feels like we should have talked about that we didn't? I'm just, throwing it out there.
Probably more pied stuff and
more pies.
Yeah.
More pies.
That's all she cares about. Just make me play.
So
actually,
what is?
We didn't get into that, and I was going to share it. But if you want to share what your pie project is this year, your big one?
Yeah.
No, with Jason Aldean.
Oh, my freeway highway.
Jason Aldean?
Yeah, that's
what I heard.
Because he's on a dirt road, so Jason knows.
I got it.
I love it.
So she's trying to make highway pies this year. That's her.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah, that's her big looking for this year is highway pies.
That's awesome.
And she's trying to make freeways and champagne freeways.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have a champagne asphalt.
I'm actually working on the Champagne freeways too.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Champagne's a hell of a thing, man. I saw a Champagne Ultra Malibu
Going
recently that I think
to-
Marshall has it. It's beautiful.
one of Bradley's pastel ivories to the champagne.
Yeah.
So, Jeremy, thank you so much, man. We definitely have you on again. Love talking reptiles with you. Zach, as always, man, thank you. For everybody that watches this in the future, everybody that signed in live, thank you all so much. We love you, and this is for anybody that feels like they are connected by creatures. Bye, guys.
Love you guys. Have a good night. Merry Christmas.